What up, what up, what up? You were live and direct on Petty Sportz, the podcast brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. It's your boy, the host. They call me Famous Fees. I'm also known by Facts. Yo, I'm here live with my man Adam. Holla at him.
You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Petty Sportz, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Call the show, man. Look, we got to have callers. Every single topic, like every week, requires a caller. We want your input on the show. We're talking about someone maybe getting into the Hall of Fame. We're talking about a little bit of NBA this week. But, Fees, as always, kick it off, man. What do we have tonight? Don't forget to follow as well, all social media platforms.
Yo, we got a loaded lineup. It's every single week. Y'all know we always going to do some NFL because just for y'all information, the NFL will never go away. I don't care if it's over.
Never cease on the Petty Nation.
It's never over. So we're going to talk about some NFL, Super Bowl, halftime show, the actual game, where some players should go, how some things should fall out. We got a little UFC in this thing, a little Izzy Adesanya. We got to definitely chop it up about the NBA All-Star Weekend. You know, before the last time we was on, well, after we was on the last time, James Harden got traded. You know, that's kind of serious. So we got to chop it up about that. Show was all the way loaded. Make sure y'all stay locked in, stay tuned in. Hit us up on the Petty line, 678-871-9602. And as always, get your popcorn ready, get you a good drink, smoke you a good stick, take some notes, because we about to go ahead and get it in. Smell off the top. That guy, LeBron James, I know y'all thought we was going straight to the Super Bowl. LeBron James came out in a tweet and suggested, well, I don't know if it was a tweet or not, but he suggested that they should have a joint parade for the Dodgers, the Lakers, and the Rams, because the Dodgers and the Lakers actually didn't have parades when they won their championships because of the pandemic. So he's like, man, it should be an all LA love parade. And, you know, I thought the idea was just outlandish, ludicrous, stupid on so many levels. There's so many players for the Dodgers and the Lakers are no longer on the team.
Yeah.
Since their championships were
that
now
part
a
didn't even
couple
dawn
of
on me
years
till
ago.
now.
So, like, man, what was Melo and Westbrook going to do with the parade?
Right.
You ain't get no ring.
You got to stand off to the side. You weren't here when I wanted to organize this originally, so we're going to have you politely step off, please.
But in light of recent information, you know, a.k.a. the Rams parade had like 13 people at it.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have done it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, you know, one thing that LeBron has done in his career multiple times is come out with these certain ideas to where it's like, okay, LeBron, you know, and at first you were like, all right, we understand he's putting new things out there. He's trying to obviously, you know, make his mark in the NBA, which LeBron has done so greatly in his career. But a joint parade for all three teams is... It's kind of a little silly to me because it didn't even dawn on me until you said it there that there are players that are not within these organizations anymore. And I understand we've got cities like, you know, potentially Atlanta, like where we're at right now. We talked about them potentially getting hot after a couple of teams when we talked about the city of Tampa potentially getting hot. We have people also talking about the city of LA getting hot as well. But, you know, speaking to some of those kind of crazy ideas, this kind of feels like a LeBron James idea, just suggested. I mean, this was the same guy that apparently woke up from a nap the day that the Washington football team was named the Washington football team and had something to say about it, but your son's name is LeBron James Jr. It's just kind of funny to me how he'll throw these suggestions out there, but it's like, where is, I guess, where's the logic in it? You know, it's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong, but so can I ask a question? If the Pelicans win the title in 5 years, can we have the Saints 2009 team and the Pelicans 2028 team have a joint parade? Is that okay? Probably not, right? So a little outlandish for me, but I mean, LA is a big city. There's a lot to do, and I feel like if this did go down, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'd probably watch to see how all three would correlate. It would have to be special for sure, but yeah, definitely interesting for LeBron to throw this out there after the Rams Super Bowl win.
I mean, after we saw the lack of participation in the actual parade for the Rams, it's actually like now in hindsight, it looks like a great idea.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like the Lakers have way more fans. The Dodgers have way more fans. Apparently, if they had joined them,
right,
then the parade would have had people at it. I mean, like it looked like, I thought that the shots and the pictures and like the stuff that I was seeing were like before it actually started,
Yeah.
or after
Like cleanup crew.
everything had finished. I'm like, wait. That was the crowd during the actual parade? Like, really, nobody showed up. I mean, it's insane for multiple reasons. I see Keith King, greetings from Kansas. What's up, Keith? So, man, they made the Super Bowl just a few years ago. 2018 season, they played in it in 2019, right here in Atlanta.
Yep.
That wasn't that long ago. That was 3 years ago from right now. They had just gotten the team back to L.A. So, I mean, they'd only had the franchise back for like 2 years. So we understood why there weren't very many Rams fans in Atlanta for that Super Bowl.
Right.
But just a few more years removed, you're right back in it. And it's at home.
Yeah.
Why was no one there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, and you can't show up.
Especially for your boy Matty Staff. Come on now. Where's that Hall of Fame support? Where's that at? We gotta keep that for another like 45 minutes. But
they brought in all the people. I mean, they brought in Matt Stafford. They brought in Odell Beckham. They brought in Jalen Ramsey. You still had Aaron Donald. You brought in Von Miller.
Yep.
I mean, how much star power do you need? It's L.A.
Right.
You got all the stars. You won the Super Bowl. The least y'all could do is show up. But I guess that's probably a testament to the fact that all the Super Bowl tickets are so expensive, only the stars can show up.
Yeah.
The stars don't do parades.
Yeah, I spent my money on a Super Bowl ticket, so now I have to live out of a dumpster for the next 3 weeks. I can't come to the parade, sorry. I got to.
It's the actual fans
dumpster time.
that come to parades, not the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the tickets to the damn game shouldn't cost so much.
I think the average ticket was like $7,000 for nosebleeds. And you got to think, we're talking about the newest stadium in the NFL, obviously SoFi. Beautiful stadium. I'd love to go there one day. But hell, I think like 50-yard line, kind of just the sweet spot, not too high, not too low, 50-yard line, I think was like $27K. 30K, something like that. I mean, that's like NBA Finals seats. They're
Kanye
ridiculous. Right. Yeah. Like they're always ridiculous for sure. But yeah, those Super Bowl tickets are, and they're hard to come by as well. Not only are they expensive, it's if you even get access to them. If you could even get your hands on one, let alone have the finances to obtain one. So
craziness. I see Chris Guerra in the house saying
he's been a regular. He's been the new Wes Davis lately.
Call the show, Chris.
Right. Yeah. Come on, Chris.
You got too many Twitter fingers to not call the show.
And he's
one more time.
And he's a Dallas fan. Yeah, we gotta get those two things aligned, Chris. We gotta get you on the petty hotline, sir. 678-871-9602.
Yes, right, sir. Man, we're gonna jump this thing right on into Super Bowl 56. Oh, y'all saw it. Sunday night. The game was crazy hype.
Yep.
I felt like it was everything that it was hyped up to be. From the halftime show, the game, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay. They've now forever cemented themselves in NFL history with that Lombardi.
Yep.
So what was your biggest takeaway from the game Sunday night?
My number one takeaway that I told a lot of people that this game was probably going to present, and even myself, because I was pulling hard for Cincinnati, and they played a good game for the most part. But the biggest thing is, we now know you can never spend too much on the trenches. Aaron Donald himself was literally raising hell every single play. And we knew that this type of thing was going to happen. We knew that there was going to be a Leonard Floyd presence. We knew that there was going to be a Von Miller presence. We knew that there were going to be pass rushers all over Joe Burrow's back. And I said it when we talked about the keys last week is, can you keep consistently 5 to 6 if you trust your man coverage enough on the back end to be in Burrow's face, because he'll stare down 4 to 5 blitzers all day. He doesn't have a problem doing that. But when it actually comes to Joe being able to hang in the pocket, they showed you that their trench work had been great, like it's always been, because they always have those correct people in the trenches on the right types of plays, and that is where the Bengals fell short. You can never spend too much money on the trenches, and the Bengals on the flip side need to spend too much money in the trenches. We talked about it when they took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. Jamar Chase still had a good Super Bowl, don't get me wrong, right? But Penei Sewell, I think in that moment, the way the game played out, because the Rams stalled for a long time. Imagine if you get that offensive line protection to not only let Burrow settle in, but let Joe Mixon as well do a little bit of work. And he didn't have, again, another decent Super Bowl game from really all of Cincinnati's star players. But, they could have done better with some extra protection there on the line. And unfortunately, Zach Taylor showed why he was on the hot seat walking into this year. I mean, the first drive of the game that Cincinnati had, a small pass play, 2nd and 1, shotgun run up the middle, 3rd and 1, exact same play. Do you not understand the defensive line that you're going against? There were so many boneheaded play calls in this game. And, let's just address the elephant in the room. If that face mask call doesn't happen, Cincinnati essentially has 150 yards for the entire game. So it wasn't a good look coaching wise. It wasn't a good look in the trenches. And those are the two glaring takeaways for me after the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle, thinking that this is the second straight year that a defense has dominated the biggest moments of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, last year we watched Patrick Mahomes just get completely annihilated.
Run for his life.
He got destroyed for the whole Super Bowl. To the point where they were like, well, that really wasn't the offense. The defense was the MVP of the game.
Right.
And we just watched again another Super Bowl game where it wasn't so much where the defense dominated to where they got blown out.
Right.
But in all the biggest moments of the game, there were sacks. It's like it wasn't even them picking off Joe Burrow. It was the defense of the front four.
Right.
Was so relentless.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every big play was a sack.
Right.
They dominated it. The last play, the fourth one, Jamar Chase wide open because Jalen Ramsey got burnt.
Right.
But Joe Burrow couldn't throw it.
Right.
Because of the defense. It's like the whole Super Bowl really weighed in on that one very small moment that could have changed within a second.
Our conversation that we're having today.
If he had been able to release that football,
yep,
we would be talking about where does Joe Burrow rank?
Right.
Completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Defense dominated all the key moments of the game. I mean, that was a lot of Aaron Donald. But I also just have to come in and say the referees did not cost Cincinnati the football game.
Right.
It's ridiculous. The holding call was legit. You saw it in real time. They showed you the replay about 5,000 times. You saw his hands around both sides of his waist. Clearly that looked like a hold. When you see it in super slow motion in 4K, then you're like, well, he didn't actually grab him and he didn't tug on him. How the hell is the ref supposed to see that in real time?
Right. Well, I chalked it up.
It looked like a hold.
Yeah.
It was a legit call. I mean, they could have let it go, but it was a legit call.
Yeah.
I mean, just like they let the face mask go on the Jalen Ramsey touchdown.
Boom.
They made that call.
Here's a gift.
The
LA.
calls were legit. It's
Right.
like, okay, there's one call that could have gone the other way on both sides. Y'all are even.
Right.
I mean, that wasn't why they lost.
Right.
Cincinnati got stopped on their last 4 or 5 drives of the game. They had the ball with plenty of opportunities, and they couldn't protect Joe. I mean, it was as simple as that.
Yep.
Cincinnati's defense, they don't get enough credit. So, I mean, they played a great football game, and they actually played a great all the way through the playoffs.
Right.
They showed up. It was just like, man, you can't fault them for everything. I mean, Eli Apple plays for the Rams. He was wearing the other jersey. Outside of him, they played an amazing football game.
Apple.
But, I mean, the last takeaway I have from it is I know I got a lot of takeaways. Jalen Ramsey. He's actually just been living off the fear of his reputation.
Yeah.
He is not the corner that everyone says that he is. Quarterbacks are scared to throw at him. They won't throw at him. And then when they decide to, they kind of got the little happy feet, throw a bad pass, and then he'll make a play, and he makes a spectacle out of it. Joe Burrow treated him like, oh, you're supposed to be who? I mean, I felt like he threw at him as much as he possibly could. He's like, who are you on?
Right.
Like, oh, you got Higgins? I'm throwing to Higgins.
Yeah.
You want Chase? Throwing to Chase. And he completed most of them.
Right.
I mean, Jalen Ramsey only had one pass defense the entire game. They were catching balls on him left and right.
Yep.
So, I mean, from this point forward, I don't think quarterbacks are even going to be scared of him anymore.
Right.
It's like, nah, just go at him.
We got that national television tape. You like what you're putting on film, son? You like that? You like what you're putting on film?
Crazy, man. So, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Won Super Bowl MVP.
Major talk about this one.
Second time a wide receiver has won the MVP of the Super Bowl in just a few years. In three Super Bowls?
Mm-hmm.
So Julian Edelman won it. That was 2018. This was 2021. So, yeah.
Yep.
Do you agree with Cooper Kupp as the MVP?
Well, y'all know I'm not simple, so I have to say yes and no for this one because this Super Bowl did really come down, in my opinion, to just a few key moments. And when you talk about one of those key points of the biggest NFL game of the year, you can't not look at the guy who was given Super Bowl MVP in Cooper Kupp. He was a monster, really, in a game where no offense went down, really. Yeah, the Rams jumped out, and I was kind of thinking there, okay, if they don't, if Cincinnati doesn't make a small push here, the Rams are going to run away with this football game. But then things slowed up. We didn't see a lot of Cooper Kupp, really. We didn't see a lot of offensive production at all. But when that last 15-play drive came down to it, Cooper Kupp was targeted 7 times, if I'm not mistaken. He either caught the target or was called for pass interference on him. So he literally produced for most of the offense, for at least half of the offense on the final drive, for definitely all of the passing attempts on the final drive. And you could tell at big points in the game where Stafford needed a completion, you knew the Rams needed to make a conversion. That is when Cooper Kupp was there. 2 touchdowns in a game where you only accounted really for a few in general. Both great touchdown catches as well. So I can't take it away from Cooper Kupp, but you also can't take away from the fact that the last person to win a Super Bowl MVP as a defensive player was Von Miller, who is now playing next to Aaron Donald, who a lot of people said, Aaron Donald should have got the Super Bowl MVP. And what's crazy enough is 2 sacks and 3 major quarterback hits from Von Miller back in Super Bowl 50 on Cam Newton was enough to take it home. Aaron Donald literally mimicked those same numbers and was raising hell again in the backfield within the trenches every single play in Super Bowl 56 against the Bengals and didn't get, I'm not going to say he got robbed of it, but the fact that the last play alone, right, the last
half sacks, he got just a little bit more.
2.5. Is that what you said?
Vaughn had 2.5.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. But just looking at like the last play itself, like that's for all the marbles. The Bengals either convert and maybe go on and kick a field goal, or they obviously get stopped like they did, turnover on downs. Aaron Donald, and we all saw the replay, Aaron Donald was not going to be stopped on that play. I'm not going to say he won the Super Bowl for the Rams, but he took that moment for LA as their best player and won them the championship at that time. So I give respect to Cooper Kupp, but for me to say that it was 100% rightfully to him or Aaron Donald, I can't sit on that. I would have to lean AD, though, if I was a voter in the time. And I get it, premium offense, but Aaron Donald, like you said it, Joe Burrow was trying to throw at everybody, but when Aaron Donald was in the backfield, it was not the same story. So probably got to lean AD for this one.
Yeah, I teeter back and forth on this. Initially, I was like, man, how in the hell did he actually win that award? I'm like, usually if the wide receiver wins it, it's like, why didn't the quarterback win it? Who was throwing him the ball? Because the quarterback usually wins it. And then we saw what Aaron Donald did. But now we look at it. Aaron Donald had 4 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits. Von Miller had 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits, and 1 pass defended. Ernest Jones had 7 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits, 1 pass defended. They nullified each other.
Right.
If any one of them had any more of those plays, then individually one of those defensive players would have gotten the MVP. If they could have given the MVP to the Rams defense, then I think they could have done that. But then when you look to the other side of the ball, now you're looking quarterback versus his own wide receiver.
Right.
Cooper Kupp had 8 receptions on 10 targets, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. 37 of those 92 yards were after the catch.
Yep.
So, it wasn't actually Matt Stafford even finding him like that. I was like, I had to look through and try to figure out, well, how didn't Stafford win it? He threw for 3 touchdowns. He threw for 283 yards. It's like he had pretty decent stats, but a hefty percentage of his yards were straight yak.
Yeah.
And it was Cooper Kupp doing it.
Right.
So, when you look at it from that aspect, 2 of the touchdowns, and they only scored 23 points in a game, it's like, well, Cooper Kupp actually was, he was the default winner because all the defensive players nullified themselves. Not a single running back did anything worth mentioning. And Matt Stafford's, his numbers look better than what his actual game was. Those 2 interceptions could have easily cost him that football game.
Right.
The no-look pass, that's what everybody's talking about. That was amazing. But outside of that, what else did he do that was amazing?
Right.
It probably would have actually been Odell Beckham Jr. to get the MVP if he had not gone out.
Yeah, he was on his way. He was definitely on his way. He was getting involved early and often, and he was taking a lot of attention away from Cooper Kupp.
He looked like New York Odell.
Yeah.
He looked real fast. Routes were crisp. It's like he came to play.
Yep.
It really sucked that he got hurt.
Right. We were kind of getting that vintage OBJ kind of feel back. Like, this is the OBJ we've all talked about, even though he's been absent for about 3 seasons.
Like he looked like the guy that can't be covered.
Right.
So now we're going to get back to Matt Stafford. Did this Super Bowl win punch his ticket into Canton?
Oh my goodness, man. This has been the uproar in the sports community ever since this went down. I feel like, so just to answer the question up front, no, this did not punch his ticket into Canton immediately, even though it was, yes, the first season out of prison and he's got a complete upgrade for everything and he's, winning the Super Bowl and doing this with McVay and being, damn near the same age as his coach for the youngest Super Bowl win ever for a coach. Okay, I totally understand all that. But I can't come out here and say that Matthew Stafford now deserves a spot in Canton just because he did that in his first year. Because, and again, we've heard about the accolades. 1 Pro Bowl, no All-Pros, no MVP, no Super Bowl MVP. And if we talk about specifically, because I kind of thought about it today, Hall of Fame criteria, it's very broad. Okay, we've got a lot of different types of players that are in the Hall of Fame. But for me, were you top 5 to 7 for most of your career at your position? That's not Matt Stafford. How many All-Pros do you have? Postseason wins, MVP votes, league-leading categories that truly matter in that year that you play. Matt Stafford doesn't have any of those, if many at all. And let's also look at who he competed with. Of course, Brady, Ben, Breeze, Manning, Favre, Rodgers. Like, there were so many people, and I understand that waters down potentially what he's done. And we're not taking away the fact that we don't think Matthew Stafford's good, that we don't think he's talented. But there have been plenty of moments in his career where he has fallen short. You can be as talented as you want, but until that converts, you can have all the potential in the world. How many players have we seen come into the league that have that type of potential? And I've heard a lot of people saying this: if Matthew Stafford will come forward for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons and really replicate damn near the same thing, then I can start to entertain that. But it can't be 1 Super Bowl for the first year out, winning at home. I can't just give it to him. Okay, the Hall of Fame bar is starting to get, like Sherman said, it's starting to get a little low. So let's not soften it up, because let's think, Devin Hester, who is without question the best return man in the game, did not get in. I get it, he's a return man, but he's without question the best at his position. And that was still hard. T.O. wasn't first ballot. There are plenty of players that didn't go in. So it's going to be tough for Matt to go. We had a whole uproar about Julian Edelman, which Edelman has more of a case than Stafford because he produced 3 times in 3 Super Bowls and 3 big moments. I got to let you go here, obviously, but yeah, I can't give it to Stafford just yet. Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to take it and run with it because it's almost time for the Kobe break. As soon as I get started, we're going to wait on that thing. Because I got a lot to say about Stafford to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this has been this. What's sad? Someone put this into perspective. This is, man, Stafford. Like, we feel bad for Big Ben because he retired, and then Brady's like, "Oh, I'm done." So Stafford, obviously, coming in, winning the Super Bowl, having all these naysayers. He doesn't even say, "Put me in the Hall." Other people are coming in and are like, don't you give him that Hall of Fame? And it's like, damn, man, I didn't even try to put myself on that pedestal, and I'm still in the line of fire. But let's hit this Kobe break because we love doing it every Wednesday at 8:24 on Petty Sportz. 3,
yes, sir.
2, 1. Kobe. R.I.P. to the Mamba. Shout out Cooper Kupp saying that Kobe had something to do with the Super Bowl. Absolutely love that. Mike, I think it's over to you for the sponsor break here.
Oh, yeah, we saw him walking out. He had on the Mamba jersey with the snake skin.
Yeah, he looked
on the front and the 24 on the back.
Yeah, it looks super sick. Love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Petty Sportz Show. Like every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, with Famous Facts Fees and Adam Lewis, all brought to you by Pulse 880 Radio. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pulse 880 Radio, 24/7 hits. Tune in, Google it. We certified the check mark and all. Pulse 880 Radio. Check them out. Thank you for tuning in. Like always, everybody in the chat room, Mr. Gutierrez. I messed his name up. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Guerra. All right. Keith King, what's happening? Jamila. I see Enrique. All right, got a lot of Latin brothers in here tonight. That's what's good, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Please do share the show. You know what I'm saying? Show some love. Go to the different platforms of your preference on the podcast, and Google iHeart, Spotify, Apple and just type in Petty Sportz. You can listen to the show, download it, the previously aired shows. This one will air in a few days over, so stay tuned and be ready for that drop. But thank you so much. Go over to YouTube. Do us a big solid. Subscribe to the page. You know what I mean? Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you're on the Fed Book of Face, all that right there, man. Twitter, Twitch. Hey, hit that that thumbs up button. You know what I'm saying? Like. Follow, comment. Let us know what you like to see. If you don't like it, you know what I'm saying? They say if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, or what? You ain't popping if you ain't got no haters, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So we want to hear from everybody, you know what I'm saying? Do feel free to call in at 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. All right? You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. Support black business, support black businesses, because we do. All right, ATL. Now back to the regular scheduled program.
Yes, sir. We are back, and as promised, you're going to get my take on Matt Stafford in the Hall of Fame. No, it's been a lot of talk about this thing. Matt Stafford is currently 12th in passing yards. He's 12th in passing touchdowns, and we're talking about all time. So his numbers, they're definitely way up there. So when you look at the quarterbacks that are ahead of him in those categories, there's 12 of them. 5 of them are in the Hall of Fame. 3 of them, we know they're first ballot Hall of Famers, but I mean, just to give you a point of reference, the 5 that are already in are Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Dan Marino, Fran Tarkenton, and John Elway. They're already in. The ones that aren't in are Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and those are the 3 first ballot Hall of Famers that are ahead of them. Now, there's a couple of more guys that now we get to this fringe situation. Mm-hmm. Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, and Phillip Rivers. Those are the other quarterbacks that sit ahead of Matthew Stafford, most of which have played more games than he has. But if we give you a little bit more perspective, Matt Stafford averages 37.5 pass attempts per game, which is second all-time behind Andrew Luck. He throws the ball a lot. That's why his numbers are so high.
Yeah.
The whole time he was in Detroit, as I've told y'all on multiple occasions, he generally is at the top of the league in pass attempts. So you should have lots of yards like that. So I'll tell you on the eye test, Eli, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford, no. But in reality, Phillip Rivers is the only one of those quarterbacks I named that's not getting in. Matt Stafford is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude has a Super Bowl. He's going to end up top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns. He's 53rd all-time in interceptions, which you're like, oh, that's high. No, actually, it's not. There are a lot of notable quarterbacks that are way high in that category. I mean, we all know Brett Favre is first. Dan Marino is ranked like 7th all-time in interceptions, and he never got a bowl. I mean, he got a lot more Pro Bowls, but it's like, hey, what are you valuing more than the Super Bowl rings? I mean, if you measure Matt Stafford up to Phillip Rivers, which one of them are you saying is actually better?
Right.
Win-loss record, Phillip Rivers has a better win-loss record. Phillip Rivers has thrown for about 14,000 more yards than Matt Stafford. Granted, he did come in the league in 2004, and Matt Stafford came in 2009.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in 5 years, clearly Stafford will pass him. He's thrown for 100 more touchdowns. He's thrown for about 40, 50 more interceptions. Phillip Rivers has 8 Pro Bowls to Matt Stafford's 1.
Yep.
But he has no Super Bowls. Stafford's got 1. They both have a comeback player of the year. Phillip's playoff record is 5-7, though. And now, up until this year, we were destroying him for this. Matt Stafford's playoff record is 4-3. Now he's above 500. He got 4 wins this year. Completely flipped the narrative. So, I mean, although I don't think that that Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer, he is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like, though, he doesn't have to come out and replicate this season for the next 3-4 years. He just has to come out and keep putting up numbers the way he has been.
Right.
He's never been bad. No one's accused the dude of being terrible. He just hasn't done anything spectacular enough for you to say that he's a Hall of Fame caliber guy.
Right.
But now that he's got that Super Bowl under his belt with all those stats, his numbers look better than Eli's, but Eli got 2 Super Bowls. His numbers are comparable to Big Ben's, but Ben has 2 and he's been to 3.
That's right.
You know, the difference between him, Big Ben, Eli, and Phillip Rivers is his team.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers had some amazing teams.
Right.
I mean, the 2007 season, the Chargers went 14-2. The only reason no one remembers that is because New England was 16-0.
Right.
It's like, damn, the best year you have, someone decides to run the whole table.
Right.
They made it to the AFC Championship game that year, and they lost to the same New England team, and it was a tight game. It was like he never could actually get over the hump, and up to this point, Stafford couldn't do it either, but now he's done it. I mean, when it's said and done, Matt Stafford is getting into the Hall of Fame. He's not going to be first ballot. He's going to have to wait. No, just like to your point, you were talking about Devin Hester and Terrell Owens. He's not getting in first ballot. He probably won't get in 5th ballot. He's going to wait a long time.
Yeah.
But eventually, he's getting in. I mean, that's the same thing I tell you about Matt Ryan. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But he's getting in. If he retired this year, it may take 10, 15 years for him to get in, but he's going to get in somewhere down the road.
Yeah, people like to say longevity is the reason why you should get into the Hall, but to me, longevity without like going to the promised land or having plenty of accolades behind you, or like I said, I mean, to me, really, Hall of Fame is one thing. Were you top 5 to 7 for most of your career and producing in big moments where their teams needed you? And here's the thing. I know people are going to want to come in and say, oh, Matthew Stafford, well, he was under duress in Detroit for 13 years. Okay, he waited also 13 years essentially to ask for a trade. Please let me out so I can actually have a career. You don't think he could have done that in year 4, 5, 6? I understand the city takes a chance when you makes you the number 1 overall pick. Great college story, right? Totally understand that. But let's not, in today's day and age in football, let's not say, oh, because he played for a bad team. He could have asked to leave at any time. He chose to stay, and I understand we have our great NBA stories and our great Major League Baseball stories where the player sticks it out with a bad team for 16 years and then finally wins the title. But that's not how it's going to play out for Stafford, especially with the Hall of Fame trajectory that people are now trying to call for. I'm with you, not yet, but he will be. Of course he will be. He's very talented. There's no question about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, for all the Detroit arguments, the guy that he beat in the Super Bowl, he's kind of messing it up for everybody. Say, you went to a historically bad franchise that's known for killing players, being in the graveyard, never been to the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, the Bengals have been to the Super Bowl, but the Bengals have been so bad for so long, people forget that they ever actually went. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Bengals are no better than the Lions. Joe Burrow came in there. That team was garbage.
Trash.
And then he took them to the Super Bowl. So you're like, hey, why the hell couldn't Matt Stafford do that? You're talking about coaching? It's like, oh, like when you go to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden your coach gets a lot more respect. And all of a sudden he seems like you had good coaching. I mean, that seemed like it was Burrow. So, I mean, he's kind of hurting the case for a lot of things.
Right.
But I think Matt, after winning the Super Bowl, he's going to get in. It's just going to take a while.
Right. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, back to these Bengals and Joe Burrow. Where do they go from here? Are they one-hit wonders? They about to just disappear, miss their one shot, fall up into obscurity? Or will the Bengals be perennial contenders for the next decade?
I have to say, I don't know if I can say perennial contenders for the next 10 years of NFL football, but I think they're definitely going to be one of those consistent, I think now their floor, now that they've understand what they can do, they're going to double down on obviously the trenches. I think they're pretty set offensively. Get a couple more of defensive leaders in there. And, I mean, obviously the coaching did fairly well. I think their floor now is going to be about a potential 8 to 9 win team at worst, but I think this team is consistently, could potentially be on that consistent level of 11, 12, potentially 13 wins, especially now that we've got 17 games in the NFL season. And just to kind of scale that back a bit, they feel like a general 10 to 12 win team now. It feels like they could be in that area. And I understand that their defense kind of did take a little bit of a shot in the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of talent out there that they had to put up with, but we also said that it was going to be, this is going to be their biggest game of any player's career that was essentially on that team. And it was going to be major moments for them. So it's not like they can't get back to this mountain that they work so hard to get on top of. It's just going to take work. It's just going to take dedication and time. Could the Bengals not make the AFC Divisional next year? Absolutely. That's totally a possibility. House money, a lot of great energy, great fairy tale story for them. If they don't address the trenches and go get at least one defensive leader for next season, I don't think they take that step forward. But I don't think it's a one-hit wonder. I think Zach Taylor has now kind of become discovered of what he can truly do for this team. Just the big question is, once you strike gold, how do you use it? We see a lot of teams, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. They got a whole lot of talent together. Browns with Freddie Kitchens, bunch of talent. Stefanski comes in and they're a play away from going to the AFC title game. What do you do when you figure out what you are? That's going to be the big question for Cincinnati and their trajectory over the next decade.
But I think the Cincinnati Bengals' future is 100% reliant upon the health of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You saw it last year. He was hurt. They were terrible. 4-11-1.
Yep.
This year, 10-7 with a healthy Joe Burrow. The offense, it needs to be 95% offensive line. Their offensive line couldn't possibly have been any worse.
Right.
They gave up 51 sacks in the regular season and another 17 in the postseason.
God.
Actually, no, my bad. It was 19. 19 sacks in the playoffs because there was 7 in the Super Bowl, 9 against the Titans.
Right. He was sacked once a game once the Titans
one in the Ravens,
happened.
one in the
amount.
Chiefs. But he got sacked 19 times in the playoffs.
Yep.
They need to adjust the offensive line. Mm-hmm. They've got 8 draft picks this year. The only exception I would give to them not drafting an offensive lineman with all of them is if they pick another corner because Eli Apple is the other 5%.
Oh, Eli.
He clearly plays for the other team.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which team it is. Whoever the hell they're playing, that's who he's playing for.
Those fellow Saints fans sure do know about some Eli Apple.
He needs not to run his mouth ever.
He played along with Von Pell in New Orleans, who ironically is with Cincinnati.
But he's bad. So, they need to address the line, address the line, address the line.
Yep.
Get rid of all 5 of them. There was no bright spot. A full brand new line couldn't be bad.
Out.
You need to address it in the draft. You also need to address it in free agency because there are some very top-level talented offensive linemen that are free agents coming out of this season.
Right.
You've got Taron Armstead from the Saints, a right tackle. You got a center, Ryan Jensen, out of Tampa Bay. You've got Brandon Scherf out of Washington, the Commodores. You've got Laken Tomlinson from San Francisco and Dwayne Brown out of Seattle. That's an entire line right there.
Right.
That's 2 guards, 2 tackles, and a center. They may not have enough money to get all of them. If you can get 2 to 3 of those guys in free agency, draft some good rookie talent on the line, develop them around them. If they can address that line, then this team could absolutely be a perennial contender, which I think they will be for the next decade. Even with the AFC is kind of funny right now.
Yeah.
Yes, at a glance, all the teams are definitely very good. You're like, Chiefs, they'll be there. Bills, they'll be there. We don't know that. The Chiefs are just about to start entering all of their top-level players, entering contract years.
Yep.
They're going to have to figure out how to pay everybody, and it's going to become the straight Pat Mahomes show where he's now, again, lacking protection. He might end up not having weapons like what he's used to. Same thing is going to happen for the Buffalo Bills, which we see that they can't, they have a Kansas City issue anyway.
Right.
Everything they do is to beat the Chiefs. They can't beat them. They can't get over the hump. And we've seen teams get to this point, and then they have a slump. They can't get past one team, and they fall off, so we don't know how they're going to rebound.
Right.
The Tennessee Titans look like they should be good, but the Cincinnati Bengals have already proven that they can beat them, even getting sacked 9 times. If you get to the quarterback 9 times and you can't beat them, then they don't really need to be concerned with you, especially if they actually address their offensive line. That means that they're actually way better than you.
Right.
So, I mean, who else are we looking at? In division, the Ravens, they're starting to become an afterthought. Everybody has figured out what the Ravens are doing. The Cincinnati Bengals have a very good defense. They can stop them. So, you know, there's not a whole lot over there in their way from them actually being a perennial contender. You look at their schedule next year. They got the AFC East, NFC East. They shouldn't have issues with either of those divisions. They got Tennessee, KC, and Dallas. Those are their 3 games because they finished first in the division.
Yep.
They beat Tennessee and Kansas City on their way to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, clearly, if they can beat all those teams, they can beat Dallas.
Yep.
So, like, I don't really see anything in their way. I mean, I'm not calling a 17-0 season by any means. But they should definitely win somewhere between 11 to 13 games and be right back in the mix.
Right. 100% agree.
So, man, the Cincinnati Bengals, their future is looking bright so long as they protect Joe Burrow.
Have to.
Don't let them make a hit again.
Mandatory. Absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, man. So, the halftime show. Straight 90s throwback, early 2000s.
Gorgeous.
How'd you enjoy that?
It was great, man. I mean, it was everything I thought it was going to be. Every artist performed one of their biggest songs that, obviously put them on the map. I kind of love the whole center stage thing of Dre and Snoop. You could definitely feel like it was centered around them. Definitely a big highlight. The surprise thing by 50 coming out, hanging upside down. I was like, wait. I was like, who is that? And the was like, who is that, babe? And I was like, oh, that's 50 Cent. I was like, no way. They're just bringing him out for a guest appearance. So, I mean, it was good. It was very good to see, the Super Bowl halftime show. My only thing was Mary J's song. Like, yeah, let's have her sing one of her most depressing songs. Like, man, I understand it was a big song for her, no doubt. But I was like, I felt like it could have been something a little more upbeat, something a little more lively. But everything was great. And I wish also, so I'm so picky. I said it. I expect so much from these Super Bowl shows. Kind of how, with the weekend last year, like it was good, but I just felt like it could have been more creative, rather. I wish that Eminem and Eminem. No, not Eminem and Kendrick. Eminem and Dre would have done, that part of his for Forgot About Dre. I know they kind of teased it before they started playing some of M's stuff, but I mean, great show overall. I don't see how you could have hated on it. By far the best halftime show we've ever had. I mean, it's up there with the Michael Jacksons, the Prince performances that we've had. So I definitely enjoyed, man. It was a good halftime show for sure.
Oh, yeah, man. The show was amazing. I mean, just like for everybody in the generation of mine, slightly before me and slightly after. I know half the halftime show, he's out there sea walking. We singing all the lyrics to the songs. We saw 50 come out. Now you say you later looked at it, was like, who was that? 50 came out like he actually redid the video for the song. Right. So like when we saw him, we like, yo, it's 50.
Right.
He's there. Like, man, it was like we wasn't expecting him at all.
Right.
I mean, even when you get like just the reference to the even power in that, it's like, yo, we got Kanan. We got Monet. Like, they could have let her do You're All I Need and then brought Method Man out there.
Yeah.
Like, man, give us Davis, too.
Right.
But, man, like, I enjoy all of it. Like, man, like, the halftime show was so enjoyable. I think I went to the bathroom after the halftime show. Was like, damn, the game's back.
Right.
Like, I didn't get any time. Like, what? This isn't normal. Normally, I don't care about the halftime show. I mean, that was definitely the best one that I've seen. And for folks that cite other performances, it's like, hey, it's all to your own personal preference.
Right.
But the direction that the NFL has been for the past 4+ decades, being 70+% black players, maybe a few more halftime shows should be like that.
Yeah.
Kind of should have been like that when the Super Bowl was here.
Yeah.
Why weren't all the Atlanta artists there? But
right.
That's a whole nother concept for a different day.
T.I., Future, 2 Chainz.
Yeah, we could have got all of them.
Yeah.
I've been to concerts here where every Atlanta artist came. It's like, hey, this could have been so much more.
Right.
I mean, L.A. showed up. They showed out. They represented. Halftime show was all the way live. It was dope. And then Eminem, he took a knee, and nobody was mad at it because he's Eminem. Interesting, huh? No melanin, no problem. It's Damn shame. I was thinking it was going to be Kendrick Lamar to do something like that. But the fact that it was him was like, so what you going to say about that? No problem. All right. Got it.
You think it had some negative meaning behind it?
No, not negative meaning. It's the mere fact that there's no blowback, no fallout, no outrage. I can't believe he did that. Yeah. Oh, my God. This is distasteful. No, none of that? No, okay.
Oh, yeah, just kneeling in general during the halftime show?
Yeah. NFL approved it. No one had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Interesting how that works. It's a damn shame. But for a lot of people, they said they didn't actually enjoy the Super Bowl commercials. I didn't think they were bad.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
There was quite a few of them I rock with. I mean, I didn't really watch the commercials. I had to go back and actually play them over again because, that's the only time during the entire game where you'd be like, man, let me go get a couple more wings. Let me use the bathroom. Let me go outside, have a smoke. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got to do. I need those commercial breaks to do that.
Right.
But what was your favorite commercial?
I think so. And a lot of people probably didn't like this one, but there was a commercial to where it was nothing but a QR code on the screen, blinking all the multiple colors, like when you turn on your DVD and, the logo kind of bounces around the screen a bunch. And I was like, what is this? And I go up and look at it, and it's a QR code. And so I pull my phone out and I scan it, and it's a Coinbase ad for cryptocurrency. Just obviously centering everything around making an account, joining, getting credit or whatnot. But I think the way that they portrayed that commercial, because here's what I immediately thought of. It is like $2 million+ for like a 45-second commercial during the Super Bowl, probably more now with inflation. And I'm sure the more you do, the more that you have to pull in. Like, it's probably $2 million just to get that screen time, let alone having a $500,000 budget for a Verizon commercial. So that was probably, they probably essentially made it for free. It was literally like a moving 20-second video with a QR code, but it was relating back to Coinbase, obviously a major cryptocurrency player in the game, and obviously crypto NFT stocks are all, continually rising every year as they are, to be good investments for people. But I thought the way that they portrayed that commercial, because it was completely different like anyone that I had ever saw. Because like I said, I was kind of confused. I was like, what the hell is this on my screen? And I was like, oh, that's a QR code. And I turned around real quick, ran and got my phone off the table, and I came back and I scanned it, and I was like, okay, what is this going to be? Like, is it a troll? What was it? And, it came up for Coinbase. So I was thoroughly impressed with that commercial, I guess, during the Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. My favorite one of all of them was the Hellman's mayonnaise commercial. Hellman's mayo with Gerard Mayo tackling everybody.
Yeah.
Like, damn, he tackled grandma. Tackled him miles. Like, he tackled everybody, and then he lay on him and explain why he's tackling them. I was like, I know it was stupid, but it was really funny though, just because of just how they portrayed that whole thing.
Gerard Mayo,
Hellman's Mayo,
flash to the back of the jersey. Yeah.
That one was funny. The cool one probably was the Michelob Ultra bowling alley commercial.
Yeah.
They came on with Peyton Manning, and they just brought everybody out. Like, they all look back like, oh, God, Serena's coming.
Yeah.
Like that one was pretty cool, but the Hellman's was funny. But, overall, I wasn't mad at it. People are expecting too much. People are like, oh, the game wasn't good, didn't like the halftime show, commercials suck. It's like, maybe you should just go back under your rock, or maybe just go to work. Like, you're miserable. That's what it is. You can't enjoy anything.
Right.
No one asked you. You probably thought that the drink that you brought to the Super Bowl party was nasty, too. You brought it. Shut up.
Major complainer. Can't make everybody happy, Fees. That's a hard lesson to learn.
At all, man. So, we're going to throw it back to Mike Beasley real quick. So we missed our 8:45 break. And then we're going to bring it back. We're going to talk a little bit of UFC about Israel Adesanya right quick. Mike Beasley, take it away.
Yes, sir. Famous Facts Fees. Gladly. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to Petty Sportz Wednesday night edition, all brought to you by Petty Pulse 880 Radio. Appreciate you guys tuning in and rocking with Adam and Famous Facts Fees tonight. Like always, thank you for getting in the chat room, sharing your opinions. Do feel free to call in at 678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. We'd love to hear from you guys and gals. You know what I'm saying? Your take on the Super Bowl, your favorite, your not so favorite. Who you thought should have been the MVP. You know what I'm saying? So just get at us. We'd love to hear your comment and continue to support the show. Share the links. You know what I'm saying? Share. go to YouTube, subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell. Same thing on Facebook, Book of Face. Like button, follow, all that right there. Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. We all over the place. If you're not there, what's really going on? I mean, it's like how the American Express commercials used to go. It's everywhere you want to be. You know what I'm talking about? Petty Sportz is everywhere you want to be. So help us help you help us. All right? You know what I'm saying? So get at us in the chat room. Get at us in the messenger if you have some topics or you'd like to be a guest on the show. Just get at us, man. You know what I'm saying? We can make some things happen for you. You know what I'm talking about? Without you, there's no us. So we love to hear from the people, all right? Good or bad, ugly, all that right there. Continue to hit those thumbs up emojis, the heart emojis. Go to kingsbroadcasting.com, spend some money, buy some gifts, hit the donate button at the home page. On the home page at the bottom of the screen. No donation is too big or small. We love the support. We love it. We love it. We love it. Thank you for everybody that has given. And if you have not, please feel free to open your heart. The doors of the Petty Church are open. You know what I'm saying? So open your wallet, share some of what you got. You know what I'm talking about? So we can keep bringing forth this great content like we do every week. All right? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Support black business, support black business, support black businesses, cause we do ATL. Hold back to the regular scheduled program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As promised, we moving back to the UFC. Israel Adesanya defeated Robert Whittaker again, but this time by unanimous decision. And it's a lot of people that feel like they just gave the fight to Izzy. Do you really feel like Izzy won this fight?
I do feel like Adesanya won this fight. I don't feel like it was given to him. I feel like that's a big reach to say that such a sport as physically demanding as the UFC, like, to me, when it comes to UFC, it's not usually hard for me to make a call in a fight. Now, obviously, you have some to where the decision is so close, maybe by 1 point or two, but I can't go as far for this situation to say that Izzy was given the fight. And it's for a couple of main reasons. So you could clearly tell that Whittaker had no defense for leg kicks in this fight. I mean, you could almost say that Adesanya literally took advantage of this fight with the leg kicks that he was delivering time after time after time, weakening him, just really making work on that area of his body to where it was breaking him down, as the fight went on. And I also feel like every single right that Adesanya actually threw at Robert Whittaker was to end the match. I mean, they were huge right hands that were coming his way, and he kind of had that technique where he was holding his hand, kind of charging up some of his punches. People have seen the style bender memes and everything that he might have been doing during the fight, but that was actually a technique from him, because I was kind of curious on that as to, why was he rather resorting to that sort of technique, but it was actually working out for him in this fight. I think Adesanya clearly won this fight. I know there was obviously some back and forth about the decision, what did and didn't happen, things of that nature, but I can't go as far again to say that this fight was given to Adesanya. And I don't think Whittaker is going to even venture that way either, because he said, look, round 3 is almost inevitable. Okay, he's good. He's very good. If he loses the belt before he gets back to me, fine. I still want to fight him again. And that's because he knows that the fight was so good. And it wasn't just going to be a gimme for one of these guys. It was a chess match. Whittaker was throwing good punches, obviously, throughout the fight, but I think Adesanya just wanted it more. He's the better fighter. He's been a great fighter for a while. And, overall, he was just more mentally prepped for this moment. So I can't say again that Izzy was given this fight. No, absolutely not.
No, I mean, I don't understand how anyone actually fixed their mouth up to say that Izzy didn't win the fight.
Exactly.
Did y'all actually watch the fight? I mean, just like you alluded to in the beginning, he started off the fight just destroying Whittaker's left leg.
Yep.
Every time he saw the leg out there, he hit it with a kick. I mean, he almost put him down a few times with the leg kicks. Mm-hmm. So he started favoring. It almost changed up what he was doing. So Whittaker got aggressive. He started running at him. He was trying to take him down. And it was very evident early on that Adesanya is stronger than Robert Whittaker.
Right.
He was jumping on his back. He was trying to take him down. I mean, there were multiple times in the fight where Robert Whittaker was on Adesanya's back, and he walked him over to the cage and was like, all right, now get off me. He just walked him over there real nice and casual and calm-like, got him off his back, and then they squared back up. Damn near every punch that Adesanya threw landed, He landed with relative ease. He did get hit a decent amount, just with some counter punches. But I mean, Whittaker's not a bad fighter. But still, all in all, if you actually watch the fight, Adesanya dominated the fight. It was nowhere near a gimme.
Right.
The referees, I mean, he won unanimously. He won 3-2, 3-2, 4-1, which I saw it more 4-1 than 3-2. I thought it should have been 4-1 on all three cards. The fight actually wasn't that close. They were giving Whittaker credit just for being aggressive.
Right.
Like, you're not landing these punches. Your takedowns are not effective.
Right.
You're taking him down. You're not landing anything. You can't even remotely get him close to any type of, like, anything that resembles a submission. You're just on him. And then you couldn't even keep him in it.
Right.
And I mean, then you can see in the post-fight interview, Izzy even spoke to it. He said, I knew he was going to try to copy what Jan Blachowicz did to him. Granted, that was in a higher weight class. But he's like, I'm the big dog in this yard, so I knew he couldn't take me down at all. And he showed it. He came out there, really put his power on display, showed that he was the better fighter. And I mean, as far as a round 3, I don't really think we should see that. I mean, he's taken Whittaker out twice. He put him to sleep in the second round the first time. Second time, he beat him up for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tried a different approach. He's tried what he can do. I mean, he came out in his post conference and was like, I felt like I did enough to win, and I was surprised at the decision. No, you weren't. Like, you just said what you were supposed to say. It's like, well, we're the best 2 in this division, and he knows that, and I know that, and we all know that. It's like, what, you're trying to place yourself on his level because he beat you twice?
Right.
We don't know that you're second.
Exactly.
And I mean, he's trying to get back in the ring again as early as June. I don't see any way that he fights Whittaker again. And if he does, I don't want to see it.
Right.
Like, he's that much better than him. There are definitely better fights out there than a third match with Robert Whittaker. You had 2 chances. You failed both of them. He beat you different ways. I mean, it was really just the greatness of Israel Adesanya on display. He's 22-0 in that weight class.
Yep.
It is for a reason. 2 of them are you. It's like, damn, if you can't get it done, like, let's not just get out there and fake the funk.
Right.
Like, that's what you want. Like, the aggressiveness can only just take you so far.
Exactly. It's funny as you're saying this because obviously 2 very different sports, 2 very different situations, but, you know, you're talking about people giving, Robert Whittaker credit for being aggressive and for, throwing some big strikes and, trying to win this fight in certain moments and just, just become victorious overall in this battle. And it's kind of like, we were just talking about with Stafford going into the Hall of Fame is we know that he's talented. We know that he produces. We know that he puts a lot out there. But if you're not delivering with accolades, with top 5 to 7 performance, with, with votes for certain things, with postseason wins, we can't put you in that top conversation. And like you just said with Whittaker, we can't put him in that realm of Adesanya when, yes, we understand you are, I mean, we can't give you credit for being brave enough rather in a fight. Everybody's got to step into the octagon eventually. Are you actually landing those shots? Are you actually becoming effective on Israel Adesanya and winning these fights at the end of the day? So I think that was a nice little, comparison there between what we were just on and kind of walking into this now.
I don't know, man. I think that was a little bit of a reach. He wasn't playing against Adesanya. I mean, he's the best the division has to offer.
Yeah. Well, you were just talking about people want to give him all this credit, and was it potentially given to Izzy? That's kind of the narrative around it because of how he was aggressive. But we get it. You're aggressive. You're attempting. Yeah, you're attempting, but are you delivering? Kind of with Stafford. You're attempting to be great. You're uber talented, but are you delivering in big moments? No, that's been his career. Besides, obviously, the Super Bowl 56 victory.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But we probably got about 30 seconds before we go to the break. I just wanted to touch on one thing before I throw this thing over to Mike Beasley. The Olympics. The Winter Olympics have been going on, and I had the same issue with the Summer Olympic Games. What is the deal with the coverage?
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult to get media coverage on it? Y'all put it on whatever the hell you feel like putting it on. You put it on the Peacock Network. We can't see it. Nobody has Peacock. Nobody's paying for Peacock to watch it.
Yeah.
You're acting like the Olympics are so must-see TV, like every event is a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like we're all going to break our necks to see it. We're going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to see it. You won't let any major network show a highlight. You get on folks for taking pictures.
Right.
We can't see anything. And then they got all kind of major controversy going on in damn near every sport in the Winter Olympics.
Yep.
Put it on regular TV and let people put it out there.
Yeah.
You do not have the type of following to cover it and coddle it the way you're coddling it.
Right.
They're acting like it's a pay-per-view event and we're trying to steal it.
Yeah. Pirated films.
Those aren't sports that we watch.
Yeah.
Put them on TV and let us see it.
Right. What? So was it the Summer Olympics? I feel like it was another sporting event where they were just totally undercutting like the entire just situation in general to where like it just wasn't being brought forward to like we have with obviously a lot of these sporting events. Was it the Summer Olympics specifically?
Yeah, that was the summer. So I'm like, man, it's nasty. And like I told you, the whole thing was on Peacock and we just really could we could barely watch it.
Right. Right.
Like, whoever thought of this, Peacock Network, NBC, cut it out.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that pisses me off when it's like, oh, here's this great sports story, but you got to pay $14.99 to see it.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN Plus. Okay, bro. See, really, that's just another step for me. We talked about this was a sponsorship. It's another step for me to take to make sure that I get your credit when I could just go get it somewhere else. Kind of difficult.
Pretty much.
But hey, guys, we are at the top of the hour. It is 9 p.m. here, Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time on Petty Sportz, running into the top of the second hour. And we got a good bit of NBA to talk about, man. We know that the NBA has been rolling for a while now. Got a blockbuster trade. The All-Star Weekend is coming up. A little bit more NFL talk as well. But, of course, we always want to come to you guys and let you know to please, please, please subscribe on every social media platform. 44,000 strong on Facebook. We're about 5,000 strong on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We are everywhere. It's not about where Petty Sportz is at. It's about where you listen to all your podcasts, where you get all your content out. Be sure to check out Pulse 8080, excuse me, if I could say it right, Pulse 880 Radio. They are always streaming music of multiple different kinds on that station. Be sure to check out Pulse 880 Radio, Live 365 on the app there. You can definitely check them out. And also Kingz Broadcasting Studios, guys. We wouldn't be able to put on this amazing show without Mike, without Gary, without the equipment and the support of Kingz Broadcasting Studios. If you're looking to start a podcast, get into content creating in general, want a dedicated team behind you with great equipment, great quality, and drive to put your content out there, definitely check out Kingz Broadcasting Studios. But we're here at the top of the hour. Look, we need some callers as well. 678-871-9602. And the chat's a little quiet tonight. We could be doing better. Okay, we could be doing better on tonight's show, but we're still happy that you're here with us. All right, Fee, so James Harden is officially a Philadelphia 76er, and this was a move that was really, really rumored. It was kind of like when people said Brady was going to leave. Nobody really believed it. Oh, are they really going to move Ben Simmons? Are they really going to move Brady? So much going on, so much money, but it happened. The big rumor trade has now happened, and the question to start with is who won this blockbuster trade between Brooklyn and Philadelphia?
I mean, it's actually difficult to say. I mean, between all the players that moved and actually just stylistically how the two teams are put together.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at James Harden and Joel Embiid, it's like, okay, now you finally paired Embiid with a playmaking guard that can shoot and score.
Right.
So that's going to unlock all kinds of things for that team. Shooters will be available. Embiid's life is going to be easier. Now it's going to be more difficult for you to defend Harden because he actually has a big man that's viable for him to go into, dish to, just even defer to. But if you look at the other side of it, Ben Simmons just went into a situation where the Brooklyn Nets, they're defensively deficient.
Yep.
They need a defensive guy. He's a 6'10" defensive point guard, plays amazing defense, drops dimes, drives to the rack. I mean, he's actually a better fit with them, especially when Kyrie is there. He ain't trying to shoot. Kyrie is playing like we've already seen that he'll move to the 2 because he was playing the 2 while James Harden was there.
Right.
And then you bring in Seth Curry that can sit out there on the outside. And, I mean, he can definitely knock down a three-pointer for you. I mean, he's not his brother by any stretch, but he can knock him down from the outside. They brought in Drummond. I mean, he's a shell of himself, but he can stand down there and block some shots, at least alter some shots.
Right.
So now you brought in 2 more guys for a defensive presence, brought in another shooter. When Joe Harris is back out there, he's got crazy people to dish to. I mean, when you just look at the makeup of the rosters, I think the Nets actually did better in this trade than the 76ers.
Yeah.
The 76ers portion of this trade is a lot more sexy than what it is for the side of the Nets, especially with the whole Kyrie situation, and he can only play in road games.
Yeah.
But when you get that Nets roster together, I think they actually upgraded more. But then you have to look at the same side as Philly didn't actually have Ben Simmons.
Right.
He wasn't playing at all.
Yeah, he checked out after the Atlanta series.
To me, every good thing that I had to say about Ben Simmons, he wasn't giving that to the 76ers because he wasn't playing.
Right.
To me, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Nets, but it could damn near be a tie.
Yeah. Yeah, this was definitely a crazy trade. I mean, y'all saw I blew up the group. I was like, it happened. It actually happened. They essentially swapped NBA teams, man. You know, made a little deal. And, you know, hopefully it's going to work out for both of them. But I do have to say now with seeing how Philadelphia's been, you know, for so many years with the whole, you know, trusting the process, working Embiid out, taking Simmons very high, you know, some of the speculation he had coming out of college with the scouting report, you know, you feel like they've been in that position for a while, you know, to move on to the NBA Finals or at least, you know, go on a good title run. We've talked about it for years now, and, you know, shout out to one of my guys, Miles Johnson, who runs a sports podcast as well. He is a huge Philly fan, and he was literally saying last year, like, this has to be the year because of the positioning that we have in the East, because he really didn't know if the chemistry before, you know, everything fell apart against Atlanta would ever be the same again, if they would be able to get that same type of energy running into an NBA season again. So I say all that to say we know that Philly has been on the verge for a while now. And, you know, we've obviously seen that when James Harden is ready to go, he clearly checks out. Okay, he'll go put on 20 pounds. He'll start shooting 17% from the field, whatever he's got to do, okay, to get out of a bad situation. But it's not like Harden has fallen off. We've seen that Harden has continued to play at a very decent level. He can still pass the ball highly. He can still be the best player, the best scorer on the floor for multiple teams in the NBA, especially now being with Philadelphia. I do have to say that the 76ers did win this trade because James Harden is still out here performing. You actually give Embiid a guy who is not afraid to shoot from multiple points on the field, who can score really from everywhere on the floor. He's not afraid to take it to the rack. Of course, we know the step back that James Harden has. We know that the perimeter type of player that he can ultimately be. And, you know, I've kind of said it here for a little while as well. You know, with Joel Embiid finally getting his wheels underneath him and getting some of that MVP buzz, we know Embiid is now going to be a superstar. When all that happened with Ben Simmons last year, he was clearly not happy about that. I mean, he literally said, "Oh, I don't care about that man." You know, excuse me, not that he didn't care about him, but he couldn't control what he's doing. He didn't necessarily care about his actions because Ben had shown what type of player he was and where he wanted to be within the Philly organization. And we all know when you piss off your best player, when you piss off the star of the franchise, it's not going to go well. Even if they're not a diva, you build around them, you cater to them. They are your golden egg, essentially. And now I feel like that golden egg is now accompanied by a good to, ceiling of NBA Finals potential, great type of player in James Harden. And I'm happy for Embiid. I'm happy for Philadelphia. I'm happy for a team that, again, has been working for so long because, we think in obviously I related to the NFL. We talked about the Vikings. We talked about the Colts. We've even talked about the Atlanta Falcons. If they just square away a couple of pieces or get help in just a couple of units, we would be talking about them for NFC and AFC presences in the Super Bowl. But on to the next part here of the trade. I do think Philadelphia won here. Do you say the Sixers are now the new favorite in the East, ironically, with the Nets and the Bucks being up there as well? Do you give them a shot to represent the East in the NBA Finals? I
think they absolutely have a shot. I think being the favorite is a bit much. I mean, the Nets are still sitting in an 8th spot. So, yeah. I mean, they're all tough. Right around there. I mean, they're in the 8th spot, but clearly they're better than the 8th seed team. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of turmoil going on, and even in the midst of that, so long as they make the playoffs, that's not a team that anyone wants to see.
Right.
Do we really trust the Miami Heat or the Chicago Bulls? I mean,
Maybe Miami.
They're in first and second, but I don't know how a lot of people actually think that either one of them are going to represent the Eastern Conference in the finals.
Yeah.
It's the Milwaukee Bucks that's sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And they are the favorite. They should be the favorite. And until proven otherwise, I can't give anyone else that nod. I think the 76ers and the Nets are both definitely teams that could give them a run for their money, but they don't have the chemistry, the championship swag, the experience, none of the above to call them a favorite over the Bucks.
Yeah. I gotta definitely double down with you there. I haven't really lost any sort of moxie or confidence behind Milwaukee this year. I mean, they've still been that dominant team. For crying out loud, Giannis is putting up another 30 and 10, 6 or 7 season. Being a big man, learning to pass the ball better. I mean, we've said plenty about Milwaukee, over the time on the show, what they did last year in the finals and what they've been this year in the NBA. They're just a great, strong, very, very well coached team right now in the league, and it feels like it's always the postseason for them. Okay, there were people out there, saying, okay, we know Milwaukee plays hard, but now it's the playoffs. Everybody plays hard. But Milwaukee literally always plays hard from whistle to whistle, from literally quarter to quarter, and I think that's what sets them apart from a lot of teams in the NBA. Is I'm not saying that Philadelphia can't make a run. I think they've got great speed. They've got great players. They've got, let's just be real. When Harden plays on his best night, they hold 2 of probably the top, 10, 15, even 2 of the top 20 players in the league on their team in their starting 5. So, they definitly have a lot of potential.
Embiid ain't that far down.
Right. There you go. So, even more of a testament to the type of talent that Philadelphia actually has there. But, you do have to ask the question of how do, obviously, Embiid and Harden mesh together. What type of player is Harden now actually going to be, forcing his way out of another franchise and now mid-season huge blockbuster trade over to another team to where, it's a major upgrade. Ben Simmons is out. Everybody who's out on him, the fans, the franchise, the players, everything. James Harden is in. Yeah, there were a lot of rumors, so they were kind of getting accustomed to him. But now with Harden being in there, they do feel good about it. But I don't know if they've got enough of that, just toughness, physical toughness in general to hang with a Milwaukee. But speaking of Brooklyn, we definitely have to give them some love here. Do they still have a puncher's chance with Ben Simmons in the lineup, actually, whenever they figure out he's going to debut for them?
Yeah, it's literally just a puncher's chance because it's whatever Durant can do.
Right.
They're going to put so much of a strain on Durant to score, especially only having Kyrie sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's like this will be the first time we've ever watched a series in the playoffs and been like, wait till they go on the road because then the Kyrie will be in the lineup.
Yeah.
Normally you're like, man, when you got to go to Brooklyn, when you go into their house, then they'll take you out. But they're actually they'll be a more complete team when they're on the road.
Yep.
You play them at home. Now you got Ben Simmons out there. It's like, man, how you? He's gonna get treated with a heck of Ben. They're gonna play off of him and dare him to shoot the ball.
100% they are.
His man will be shaded towards KD, so it'll be a semi-double team.
Yep.
He's gonna create. It's gonna be the same issues what you saw in Philly.
Yep.
Ben is really good, and they can definitely make the second round of the playoffs, depending on who they play in the first round. But I don't see them making their way all the way to the finals.
Yeah, I don't see them making it to the finals as well, and I hate to be so pessimistic, but I would be willing to venture far enough to say that the way Brooklyn's season has played out so far, I don't think Simmons is a good addition, even though I understand you need a defensive presence and really a guy that can guard anywhere from the 1 to the 5. Okay, we understand he is a 6'10", huge slenderman out on the NBA court, right? We totally understand that. But, everything that's happened in Brooklyn's season so far, I don't see how Ben Simmons corrects that. I don't see how Ben Simmons makes Brooklyn a better team after everything that's happened throughout the NBA season, because he's obviously not a clear, offensive presence. Yes, he'll grab rebounds. Yes, he'll be great defensively. He'll block shots for you. He'll do everything that you do need, out of defensive aspects on a player, but Brooklyn was kind of already learning to get along, and we've seen over the last couple seasons, especially ever since Durant has arrived, that they don't have to be that major defensive team when you had a Harden, Kyrie, and Durant that were putting up, 60 to 70 a night, which, yes, ironically, we only got to talk about it a couple times. We even had a topic, hey, is this performance right here what everybody expected the Nets to see? And it's like, that's what we expected. But now that's out the window, and you're putting in Ben Simmons. So I don't know if that's enough, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked if now with another curveball in this franchise, with a guy in Ben Simmons that they don't know when he's going to start, you don't know what type of player he's going to be. We've already had our Divas situations with Kevin Durant. If they miss the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be. So this Ben Simmons trade was definitely major. Definitely shook up the NBA landscape a little bit. But I am more excited to see Embiid actually get, just his true number 2. I mean, in James Harden, he's got experience. He's been in the league, great offensive player. And I mean, you even doubled down. 2 of the top 10 players in the league right now start for the 76ers. So they're in a good spot, but Milwaukee's still up there for sure. Circling back to the NFL, though, man. So this was a crazy year. Super Bowl is now wrapped up, and Joe Burrow just put on, not only in his just football tenure in general, a great college football season, but has now put on an immaculate sophomore year. No sophomore slump for Joe Burrow coming off of an injury. And after everything is done, you have to ask the question now, really, in terms of getting the bag for contracts for these guys, did he kind of speed up the process on, I guess, standards and expectations for new QBs coming into the league?
Oh, I mean, he destroyed it for him. I guarantee you, every quarterback that's coming to the NFL in the last 3 to 4 years looked at what Burrow just did like, come on, bro.
Damn, you didn't make it easier for me.
Like, I can't lean on stats, can't lean on anything.
Yeah.
It's like, this dude
Right.
just came in his second season, didn't really play, but like only half of his first season.
Right.
And then he took you to a Super Bowl.
Right. Behind the third worst offensive line in the league.
No offensive line, and I don't know how the hell is even considered the third worst offensive line.
Right.
It's got to be the worst.
It was the worst by the end of the season, because the 2 other worst ones are probably like Jacksonville and Houston. Okay, they didn't make it. So
yeah, but like they just have terrible teams. Like I don't think that's even just their lines.
right.
For the Bengals to be the type of team that they are to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, that line was terrible.
Yeah, that is a huge testament there.
I mean, this dude went 2-7-1 his rookie year,
Yep.
and then 10-6 went to the Super Bowl and lost. Dude for 34 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
Yep.
You look at who has done that. Pat Mahomes in his second year, 12-4, 50 touchdowns, won an MVP, and lost an AFC Championship game. So it's like you got the MVP, you didn't actually make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like that's the rarefied air for year 2 that he's sitting in. It's like you're potentially on pace to be pacing where Mahomes is at.
Yeah.
But you got to the Super Bowl before he did.
Right.
Then you look at the guys that came in this last class, Trevor Lawrence, 3-14, like just
Right.
god awful.
Right.
12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. How much more time are you gonna give him?
Yeah.
You're thinking like, oh, the team is bad. You gotta let them, they got a new coach, you gotta turn it around. Like, no. Joe Burrow came in, team was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 4-11-1 the year before, but
Right.
the year before they drafted him, they were 2-14.
Joe Burrow's head coach was going to be probably going to be fired by Thanksgiving this year had he not had the type of season that they just came out with.
Yeah, it's like he came in and took over a god-awful, terrible football team.
Yep.
It took him to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Justin Fields, 2-8 this year. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Like, that's just not going to be acceptable. Zach Wilson, 3-10, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Notice a pattern. Every one of these guys threw more interceptions than touchdowns, and their teams were terrible.
Yep.
They're not getting it done. Trey Lance, he only started 2 games. He went 1-1.
Yeah.
He had 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but I mean, from what we've seen, he's not ready.
No.
I know San Francisco's talking about trading Jimmy Garoppolo, but now there's rumors that they're going to trade him for Tom Brady and not put Trey Lance in there, but that's a whole nother thing. That's just a rumor.
God.
Look at Tua. Tua,
Yeah.
he got drafted the same time as Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
7-5 this year, in year 2 as well. 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, no playoffs.
Right.
Now you got a new coach coming in. Your team is in turmoil. How much more time is Tua going to get?
Right.
Like, Joe Burrow has showed teams that they don't have to actually wait that long. We give you 2 years, see what you do. If not, we're going to look for somebody else. You can be the backup or we might ship you out.
Yep.
I mean, Mac Jones is the only one of those guys who actually did anything that says he's, like, created a stronghold for his position.
Right.
He went 10-7, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks. He actually had a decent year, and his team made the playoffs. They got annihilated in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs.
Right.
So him coming into his sophomore season, his seat is colder than all of the rest of the guys that I mentioned.
100%. Rightfully so as well. I mean, he came out and played well for his rookie year, whether it was with Bill or in the Patriots or not. There are plenty of quarterbacks in the league who could have fell short. Like people act like automatically because of the situation you step in, you become good. No, that's not true. We've seen plenty of great number one overall picks go in and not be good. We're not even number one overall picks, but players that are good go over to teams. Players good, team is bad, or vice versa, and it just doesn't work out. So I definitely got to double down with you there.
There's one guy whose seat might actually be warming up who we usually forget about because he just gets placed in elite categories. Justin Herbert. 9-8, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Really good numbers.
Right.
Teams not producing the wins.
Right.
I mean, 9-8 isn't bad.
Right.
Definitely not scoffing at it, but now they've seen what Burrow could do.
Right.
He has a better supporting cast than what Burrow's had. How much more time is he going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely not going to go to the front office and ask for an extension or a new mega contract. You haven't even gotten to the playoffs.
Jeez, we only got 40 minutes left, and Jay Herby's my boy. You can't do him like that.
You haven't even gotten to the playoffs.
I get what you mean, though, because of obviously Burrow's run in the way that, you laid it all out there. Herbert's had more, the way the way Burrow just ran to the playoffs. You are going to start to wonder, okay, by the middle of this year or end of this season, like you're going to have some question marks popping up. Okay, is this the guy? Which I think Herbert is the guy, no doubt about it. But again, if you're not producing, we're just talking about a lot of potential without the actual clutch moments on the field. This does speed up the clock, though, definitely for excuse me, for all the NFL quarterbacks that have come in, because here's the thing now, right? You used to have, your Favres, your Romos, your Dak, stuff like that. People come in and just sit behind the legend for anywhere from, 2 to 5 years. And then they come out and play, right? That was the normal thing. But now that quarterbacks are favored more, now that your receivers and your tight ends are better and quicker than ever, and just overall, the NFL is so offensively and pass happy to where obviously these quarterbacks are going to be able to, have a step up. So their timeline is shortening. Like, they're not getting as much chance already, let alone, like you said, you've got people like Joe Burrow coming along, making a run to the Super Bowl, comeback player of the year after a crazy injury, with your knee, third worst offensive line, and he still manages to produce in this aspect. I mean, now it's to the point where it was already, okay, we draft guys, you saw it with Justin Herbert, you saw it some with Justin Fields. It should have been a little more with Tua, which I kind of think cost Brian Flores Coach of the Year a couple seasons back, but like, you got to throw them in there. You got to throw them in there. You got to put them in the line of fire, and you have to see, look, are they ready? Are they ready to be uncomfortable for their first, 200, 300 snaps in the league? Are they ready to be uncomfortable for 8, 9, 10 weeks before they get out of the bad throw business? Like, that is the thing that we're starting to see, especially because the league is heating up and really catering to offensive players and more than anything, quarterbacks more. It definitely did speed up the clock, though, because now you're just going to have it to where you've got to prove it quicker. They always said it. We've got guys that are coming in, but we're probably drafting your potential replacement right behind you because the NFL is a business, and we got to have people on the field to obviously get us wins, drive the marketing up, things of that nature. But I will say one thing, right, with Joe Burrow. So as I'm sitting there just watching him overall in the Super Bowl, I'm like, this kid's career is crazy. We talked about it. Heisman, greatest college football quarterback season maybe ever. Wins the national championship, number 1 overall pick. And I'm literally sitting there scratching my head. I was like, I just watched this kid win a national title like 2 seasons ago. And now here he is in the Super Bowl with a lead at a certain point, like just a couple moments away from becoming a Super Bowl champion. And I also said this, Fees, just speaking of Joe Burrow in general, I firmly believe that if Joe Burrow would have won the Super Bowl on Sunday, all of the hype surrounding him from college until now, especially if he would have won Super Bowl MVP, it would have been like a Mahomes or Rodgers all over again. Just the overall hype, all the gear being bought. You would see Burrow and Chase on every jersey, even more than you do now. It would just be another one of those super early rookie jumps to where people are just diving all in on it. And I mean, to their claims, you couldn't blame them. I mean, literally, I'm sitting there, watching a close-up of him in the Super Bowl. Like, I just watched this kid go win a national title in college, and he's literally standing here in one of the newest stadiums in the NFL with the greatest Super Bowl halftime performance that just happened, actually playing for a chance for his team to win.
It would have been more justified for Herbert to get that hype than even a Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Because, I mean, just like what we've talked about previously, Mahomes took over a 12-4 team that Alex Smith was quarterbacking with a great coach and a great supporting cast.
With Kelsey and Hill already.
Yeah.
We just didn't know who they were because Mahomes wasn't in the league. People forget that Kelsey and Hill were playing with Alex Smith for a couple years before Mahomes came from Texas Tech.
That team was really good.
Yeah, they were winning double-digit games regularly.
In case you forgot, Green Bay was 13-3 with, that guy his name is Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
They went to the NFC Championship game in 2011. No, it wasn't 2011. In 2007.
Right.
That was his last year there. They lost to the Giants before the Giants went to the Super Bowl, and then they got rid of Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers took over that season.
Right.
13-3, lost in the NFC Championship game in overtime, and that's the team that Aaron Rodgers took over.
Right.
Joe Burrow walked into a team that was 2-14.
Literally
trash.
Walked into a 6-win franchise over the last couple seasons. Because now it's just no excuses. Like no, you don't have to go to the Super Bowl. No, you don't even have to win 10 games. Probably don't even have to go 500 in your rookie year. But this was the downfall of Dwayne Haskins. These words that I'm about to say came from Ron Rivera's mouth. He didn't show me enough on the field in the simplest moments to pick up even first down conversions. Why the hell am I going to ride with him from here on out? Because Dwayne Haskins was major. They were talking about him for Heisman. LeBron was raving about him. Like, he was supposed to be, one of the top quarterbacks in the league that year. And, I mean, I saw him coming in. I was like, great size, awesome player, of course. But what clearly happened? You can't say he didn't get a shot.
He didn't do the work.
Exactly.
He's a pocket passer.
Exactly.
He has zero mobility. And as a pocket passer, you have to be one of the smartest people in the entire league, not just on the field.
Right. If you want to truly hang in the pocket and play on script most of the time, yep, I highly agree.
He didn't prove that he could actually be that.
Right.
I mean, to my man John Foster said the Chargers let him go. He's talking about Justin Herbert. They'll regret it. I didn't say they would let Herbert go. And in regards to Herbert,
he'll start to get looked at.
He's going to have to wait until that fifth-year option before he gets another contract.
Yep.
Like with a lot of the young quarterbacks, they're like,
stretch that rookie money, boy.
A lot of the young guys, they're like, okay, let's go ahead and re-sign them early before the market gets so ridiculous that we can't afford them. But with now what Joe Burrow's doing, they're like, nah, we'll wait.
Right.
Like, what else are you going to do? Because there might be another guy, and we might actually bring somebody else in here, and we don't have to pay you, and they could do what you do.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Probably the most angry person with Joe Burrow right now just might be Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's tough. It's going to be interesting. So, you mentioned him, right? I think because Kyler wasn't, far behind Lamar, I think the Kyler and Lamar kind of pay scale situation, and then looking at the Herbert and Burrow pay scale situation, like, oh my God, we already see how much Dak and Mahomes and Deshaun Watson got. You know what I mean? And two of those guys clearly aren't living up to what they were paid. One obviously is. But yeah, those pay scales are definitely going to be intense for sure. And I mean, look at the Browns. Everybody, people wanted to trip because Baker played like 10 great games, but what did the Browns still do? Not pick up that fifth-year option.
Like they're like, hey, we're going to wait.
Exactly. We're going to wait to pay you because we need to see, because even if this quarterback draft class is weak, it doesn't buy an excuse for anybody. It doesn't buy an excuse for anybody at all. So I do have to say that Joe Burrow's actions this year, I was totally wrong. Again, I 100% thought Joe Burrow was just that quarterback on that right college football team at the right time. But no, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr is that guy, 100%. Mike, I'm going to throw it over to you for a little bit early here on the 9:30 sponsor break, and then we're going to swing back and talk about some NFL honors, NFL awards, and more NBA. Over to you, Bill.
Yes. Thank you, Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in watching Petty Sportz Wednesday night edition. Like always, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time with Famous Facts Fees. And like I just mentioned, Adam Lewis, all brought to you by Post 880 Radio. Thank you for watching, tuning in, sharing, all that good stuff like you do every week, showing love. Everybody in the chat room, thanks for going off, sharing your opinions. Yo, we're at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. That means only 30 minutes left in the show. So if you want to call in, feel free to call in at 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. The guys would love to hear from you and have your take on some of the topics that have been discussed tonight. Go to YouTube, do us a big solid. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. So anytime the show go hot, you will be notified. Same thing on Booker Face, Fedbook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that, man. You know what I'm saying? TikTok, type in Petty Sportz everywhere you want to be, like American Express, you know what I'm saying? Or Visa, MasterCard. There's so much going on. I don't know which one it is, but you know what I'm saying? Like, do us that solid. Keep following, keep sharing. Go over to kingsbroadcasting.com, spend some money, open your pocketbook, open your wallet, hit the donate button at the bottom of the homepage. Share some love, you know what I'm saying? All of this is brought to you by Post 880 Radio. Post 880 Radio is a 24/7 internet radio station. Play all the hottest urban, R&B, jazz, hip-hop, gospel in the mornings, Sunday gospel from like 6 to 1 on Sundays in the morning. Check us out, man. Like, it's a really, really nice radio station. They come through, you know what I'm saying? Very, very few commercials. Like, they go hard. Thank you so much. Go to your favorite platform or podcast platform of preference, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart. Type in Petty Sportz, download the shows, listen to the previously aired shows. This one will be up in a couple of days. Stay tuned for that. And thank you for your support. And you know what? Happy Black Future Month. You know what I'm saying? We're going to call it something different over here. Happy Black Future Month. And keep making history. Support black business, support black business, support black businesses, because we do ATL. Hold back to the regular scheduled program.
Welcome back into Petty Sportz, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at 9:31 sharp, Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time. We've had no callers, and we're pretty upset here at the desk, y'all. We need people to call into the show. We need people to get in the comments. We need right, yeah, for real. We need people to interact with us tonight. Lot of debate heavy topics, a lot of things where y'all could have called in and given your takes, but it's okay. We're not going to stop doing this. We will always have the phone lines open for Petty Nation, and especially when we're about to talk about the NFL honors that were announced on Thursday night. A lot of people got awards, and it was great to see, of course, from quarterbacks to wide receivers. We had some coaches named as well. Out of everyone named, though, at the NFL honors fees, did you get any of them right before the season started?
Not a single one. I mean, I felt like I should have gotten some of them right.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for the MVP award. Aaron Rodgers won MVP back-to-back. 13-4. But outside of him being 13-4, I said that it would be Brady. He was also 13-4.
Yeah.
They had the exact same record. Brady led the league in yards. He led the league in touchdowns. Because I said they would have the best record in the NFC. He would lead the league in both yards and touchdowns, and he'd win the MVP award. Which, how he actually did that and didn't win it is actually surprising to me. Especially seeing as how they're all that speculation, and they're like, oh, he's going to retire. It's like, oh, he's absolutely going to win that award. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers won it, so didn't get that one. I mean, clearly Josh Allen was nowhere near getting Offensive Player of the Year, so I have no gripes about that one. But I think the only one that I have gripes about that I picked that didn't win, well, not even a gripe, just one that I was like, okay. So I picked Dak for Comeback Player of the Year, and Joe just came out of left field. I was like, damn. Well, I figured there was no way that it wouldn't be Dak because we figured Dak would do something similar to what Joe did. Didn't even have the expectations for Dak to do what Joe actually did, but we thought that he would do enough where it was a no contest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I didn't get any of them.
Yeah, I didn't get a single one right either, man. A-Rod obviously won MVP. I chose Josh Allen. Cup got offensive player. I chose Tyreek Hill, which wasn't a bad pick. I really thought Tyreek and Mahomes are kind of just going to be on a different level this year. And when Josh Allen stepped out of last season, I kind of had some hype on him as well. Jalen Ramsey for defensive player, that obviously went to TJ Watt, which I was super happy that TJ Watt got that vote there. It's about damn time. The Watt brother, another one just in the defensive player of the year realm. Jamar Chase, of course. I did choose Justin Fields, had really high hopes for him in his rookie year. Micah Parsons was the runaway defensive rookie of the year and was even in defensive player of the year talks as a rookie. I don't know why I chose Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah for the Browns to win this. Now, he's obviously a very good defensive player. He was a good defensive rookie and, just defensive prospect coming out of this draft, but didn't live up to that hype. Joe Burrow, of course, the comeback player, and I knew once it hit a certain point in the NFL season for Joe that he was going to win comeback player because he was clearly just – I think Joe overall this year played more consistent than Dak Prescott did. All 17 games, and obviously, Joe Burrow played all the way to the, through to the Super Bowl, but he played more consistently and just overall had a better season to me than Dak Prescott did, which is why he got comeback player of the year. Now, the one that really, really stumped me, and I know we'll get into this one in a second, but Mike Vrabel with coach of the year. And here's my thing. I think we know Mike is a great coach. We already know that Mike Vrabel is a great coach, right? And I understand the one seed, I think like over 90 practice squad players that he had to pull or something to be able to, to put this team together. I didn't agree with that one, but that will lead us into the next one. So Fees and I totally struck out on the accolades. But who didn't win an award, Fees, that you really thought should have?
Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, you go from 4-11-1 to 10-7, because
and you won the AFC North.
Yeah, won the division. You went from worst to first.
Yep.
With a team that was just completely terrible. Mm-hmm. Didn't improve the offensive line at all. Your quarterback came out, he balled out. It's are you giving all the credit to Joe Burrow to the point where you're saying the coach did nothing?
Right.
Because I don't understand how you're giving it to Mike Vrabel. That team won the division last year.
Right.
They were in the playoffs last year. They didn't do anything that they didn't do the year before.
Yeah.
But I know he's getting a lot of credit because Derrick Henry got hurt.
Right.
Are we not going to acknowledge that the Tennessee Titans have one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL and it almost doesn't matter? Like you and me, we could split snaps at running back and we could go for over 100.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, for the guys they had in there, hell, we might get $150.
Yeah.
Running behind that line, you get at least 5 yards before somebody hits you. I mean, I might not get up after the first hit, but we could go for $150 behind that line.
Right.
It's I know he had a lot of injuries going on, but they also played a much weaker schedule because they have a piss-poor division. The AFC North is way better than the AFC South. And he won that division from the bottom? It's Tennessee didn't just come through and upend Houston, who was starting to turn into the dominant team in that division, or the Indianapolis Colts, who was emerging as what they actually are right now. Houston fell off because they have no quarterback anymore. The Colts, they got a new quarterback in Carson Wentz, who is not that guy. Because the Colts are actually talking about getting rid of him now. They're about to trade Carson Wentz if anybody wants him. They might end up just releasing him because they say that's on the table too.
Yeah.
Because they know it's that bad. Yeah. They might just have to just cut him. So you jumped over those two teams and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were already bad and still bad, to win a bad division again.
Yeah.
So it's hey, I mean, we won't take anything away from Tennessee. They did have a very good season. What Mike Vrabel did was not more impressive than Zach Taylor.
Right. I feel like, and like I said, we already knew that Mike Vrabel was a great coach. We didn't know Zach Taylor was capable of this. Zach Taylor was on my head coaching hot seat walking into this year. The man had 6 wins for a franchise that was not only harnessing Joe Burrow, but now obviously Jamar Chase. We know what Joe Mixon can be. Trey Henderson was a great pickup. He had a great season. The Bengals team overall just improved a lot. And whether they had similar or different talent, you have to attribute that to coaching. I mean, like I said, 6 wins. The AFC North is not only one of the toughest division, I think it is single-handedly the toughest defensive division in football, probably next to the NFC West. And to essentially have, again, it took 31 games for Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow together, both of them, to get to the Super Bowl. So I don't understand how Zach Taylor can't play into a part of that. And I don't want to hear about voters fatigue because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and venturing into voters fatigue a little bit. I don't think a quarterback should have got MVP this year, to be honest with you. When everything was finally said and done and everybody was coming together and finally deciding, okay, who should get these NFL awards, if we're truly talking about a most valuable player in the NFL this year, to me, that was Cooper Kupp. One game the entire regular season with less than 6 catches. He had 5 catches in one game, 6 catches in another. One game in the entire regular season with less than 65 yards. It was also that 5-catch game where he had 64 yards. In the other 6-catch game, 90-plus yards in that game as well. Cooper Kupp was literally unguardable. Over 2,100 yards in the entire year, and I think the dude caught essentially like 180 passes the entire year of the NFL. I think when you talk about value, when you talk about how that offense ran, and especially, and I know the postseason isn't factored in, but on that 15-play drive in the Super Bowl, clearly who got Super Bowl MVP, I think Cooper Kupp was the MVP this year. You already spoke plenty on Zach Taylor. Now, a guy who I think, no offensive player of the year for Cooper Kupp, I think you could turn around and hand that out to Jonathan Taylor. Absolutely great running back season. Of course, led the league in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, led the league in rushing yards as well. So those are my only couple of complaints with the NFL awards. Everything else was pretty spot on, though. I mean, I couldn't complain. TJ Watt, of course, rightfully earned it. Cooper Kupp rightfully earned it with offensive player. Everything down the line looked very well. But I would have given Cooper Kupp MVP, and I would have given Jonathan Taylor Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, yeah, like TJ Watt did what I predicted Myles Garrett doing.
Right, literally.
Like I said, Myles would have the season TJ had, and he would win it. So TJ did that, and he won it. So it was like, hey, hats off.
Right production, just wrong name, bro. I give you credit.
Yeah, that happened multiple times.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be fun to go back and chop up those right or wrong about the entire NFL season.
And I gave Mac Jones Offensive Rookie of the Year because I figured at quarterback, especially you leading your team.
If it wasn't Jamar,
playoffs,
it would have been Mac.
I mean, Jamar had a ridiculous season.
If Jamar comes out and has like a 900-yard, 1,000-yard season, it's probably going to Mac. But yeah, Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp, I think, single-handedly were the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL this year. Obviously, respectfully behind Devontae Adams and, DeAndre Hopkins, the guys that are out there, of course.
And I think he solidified it against the Chiefs.
Right, yeah.
They played them, and I think it was week 16 they played the Chiefs.
266.
266.
Jamar Chase had as many 200-yard games as the rest of the entire NFL did. Yeah, Jamar Chase was...
As a rookie?
Yeah, and here's even the crazier thing, right? So Jamar Chase, I think, had about 85 to 90 catches overall for the season, still had well over 1,400 yards. Cooper Kupp had almost double those catches, but only about 500 more yards. So that literally shows you, because Jamar Chase, I want to say, was like 19 yards on average for catch this year. If Jamar Chase had gotten fed and needed to be fed as often as Cooper Kupp was this year, I mean... Obviously, we've never seen it, but hell, Jamar Chase could have been a 2,200-yard receiver this year. I mean, seriously, when you do the math as to what played out for both of those guys in perspective, yeah, it was definitely nuts. But we got to move on to NBA All-Star Weekend because it is here. The shenanigans have arrived. The awesome HBCU game is what I'm super excited to talk about on the slate tonight. But we'll go from Friday to Sunday and just kind of chop it up a little bit about 2022 NBA All-Star Weekend in Cleveland. So we'll start with Friday night fees. We got the celebrity game. Quavo is showing up for his 5th overall time. We got a little bit of Tiffany Haddish. We got a little bit of MGK. What do you expect to actually go down in this celebrity game? Is there anyone that's going to stick out to you from what you've seen on the lineup, for the rosters, rather?
I mean, no, I'm looking at the lineup, and I'm like, I don't even know who most of these people are. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the age that like the halftime show from the Super Bowl, and that's why I don't know who these people are. I'm like, who the hell is Matt Jones? Ranveer Singh? Like, I don't know who these folks are.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of people. I mean, I do want to see what Myles Garrett does. I mean, that's an interesting entry because he's a 6'5" defensive end monster. I mean, I've seen clips of him hitting windmills and dunking on folks. So you get a guy that's that dominant in the NFL coming out playing in a celebrity basketball game, and it seems that he actually does have some game. I mean, I'll definitely sign up for that. But, I mean, outside of that, I don't know who these folks are. Like they're going to really have to pull some gimmicks to make this game interesting for me to watch. I need names of people who are actually more mainstream. And I know there's probably people who are like, I know who every single player on this roster is. I can't believe what he's saying right now. You're in the minority. I don't know who the hell these people are. Like, you got to give us folks. It's a celebrity game.
Yeah.
Give me bigger names.
Right.
We know a lot more people that can actually hoop that are mainstream celebrities. Let me see them.
Right.
Like, where the hell J. Cole at? He tried out for the league.
Right. Where's Justin Bieber at? That dude balled that one year he played in a celeb game.
Chris Brown is a hooper.
Yeah.
Like, what? No more a little guy? No Kevin Hart?
Yeah. They definitely brought in some Cleveland Cavaliers or just, Cleveland guys in general. Like you got, MGK, Cleveland native, obviously. Hell, I'm kind of surprised Jake Paul isn't in here, to be honest with you. Think about it now. Let's see. Myles Garrett, Cleveland defensive end. The mayor of Cleveland is actually in this celebrity game. You got a Harlem Globetrotters player. But yeah, everyone outside of those few that I named, Tiffany Haddish, Myles Garrett's going to be in it. MGK. Quavo, of course. Yeah, those are really the only ones that hop off the page to me. But the celeb game's always fun. The celeb game is always decently enjoyable. We see people out there, and I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, they can actually play. Like, they can actually ball. I remember when, you were speaking about J. Cole a little bit, when he actually got his, I think, like, NBA minor league shot or something like that. Everybody was all over it, and I feel like that was because he started an NBA, celebrity basketball game. He's, we've had videos of him kind of doing pickup hoops on the side, so...
But like, we got to do this, a Peloton instructor. Are we seriously talking about the dude from the bike?
Oh, jeez.
Is he the guy that's on there, man? I don't have one. I don't know what it does.
Hold on.
Is this the guy that talks to you while you're on the bike?
Oh, no. Hold on.
Is that who's playing in the game? That you're a celebrity? Jeez. We got a dude from The Bachelor. Why are they in there?
Yeah. Yeah,
you couldn't attract more people? Somebody else from Cleveland?
Yeah.
Y'all ain't got something?
Right. I'm really surprised, and Jake Paul might have said no because he's just, prepping for the for whatever boxing match he's got coming up next. But yeah, the celeb game, I think it'll be a decent turnout. It's always a little bit of a head turner every year. We might see what we're going to stumble across. But now we got the ever so packed Rising Stars 3-on-3 challenge. Fees, I know you said they have like a little bit of a anniversary for the NBA point setup. Can you go through that a little bit? Can you talk about before the show?
Yeah. Like they for the Rising Stars game, they kind of took a page out of the Big Three book from Ice Cube's league. So I mean, that is what it is. I mean, it's a 3-on-3 tournament,
right?
So I mean, you got 4 teams with 7 players apiece.
Right.
So each team's got 7 players. That's a lot for a 3-on-3 tournament. So I was like, man, how the hell long are these games?
Right.
They don't have the clock going. They're both going to play, you'll have team 1, team 2, play team 3, team 4.
Right.
So for those 2 games, they're going to go to 50. And it'll be just like what the Big Three is. They go to 50 as a final target score, and there's no clock. Whoever gets point number 50, they win the game. And that's it. It's single elimination, so you ain't playing again. If you lose, you're out of there.
Done for.
So that was the 50. The championship game, which is game 3, that was the 25. The 50 and the 25, that is to commemorate the 75th year of the NBA. So the 2 games go 50-25, so combined is 75. So that's how they're trying to run that. So when we get the 2 teams that play in the championship, they're only going to 25. So it's going to get short.
Backwards to me.
I mean, they made it shorter because I guess they're doing it all in one night.
Yeah.
That's why it's got to be shorter.
Right.
You can't task them. Well, actually, they could because you have too damn many players.
You're right. You literally have 28 players in this competition, 7 for 4 different teams.
Like, you got 7 guys on a 3-man rotation.
Yep.
They could all go to 50.
Right.
But I mean that's how they figure they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Team Barry, Team Isaiah, Team Peyton, and Team Worthy.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple highlights from those teams that you pointed out there. You got Cade Cunningham and Jayshawn Tate for Team Barry. Just, couple players everybody will recognize. Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton and Isaiah Stewart on Team Isaiah. Team Peyton, you featuring LaMelo Ball. Maybe Scoot Henderson there. And then Team Worthy, you got Cole Anthony, Jalen Green, of course, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Suggs. So if I had to guess, I might put the overall outcome on either Team Isaiah or Team Worthy. They just kind of boast some of those younger guys. And I always like to see the Rising Stars Challenge as well, because it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Senior Bowl. It shows you everybody that the league is about to get introduced to, but the NBA actually holds the Rising Stars Challenge. So it's kind of it's kind of like a showcase. Everybody gets to view these early on players that are in the league to see, because it usually takes longer in the NBA, maybe 3-4 years. I mean, hell, look how long it took Giannis to be any sort of relevant with Milwaukee, let alone the team, to actually come up and be relevant in the NBA landscape. I kind of wish if the NFL would do something itself. See, I'm just being too greedy. I'm just asking for too much, because we literally have the Senior Bowl that's like, hey, here's all the best players about to come into the draft. Watch them play against other players of their caliber before you put them in the league with grown men. So I appreciate the Rising Stars Challenge, though. I think it's a pretty good one to keep your eye on. Now we got something brand new for Saturday. It is an HBCU Classic in honor of, obviously, Black History Month here. We have Howard and we have Morgan State. Howard University and Morgan State. Just overall, who you got in this one? Which HBCU is going to take home the first ever NBA All-Star Weekend shenanigan?
I really don't even know who I actually want to take in this game. I just think it's a good thing that they're doing, since the NBA now has a new partnership with the HBCUs where they're actually funding. So it's like they're pumping money into it and putting a spotlight on it for us to actually get a chance to see HBCU talent placed on that level stage. Right. I just hope that it actually gets the type of ratings that it deserves. I mean, between Howard and Morgan State, don't know anything about either one of them. If I just had to pick, it's going to be just one of those picks. I'll take Howard. That's where my fraternity was founded at. So that's what I'm going with, even though it'd be a close second behind Morgan State. But, I just like the fact that they're doing it. I hope they do rotate it.
Right.
To where they give, I really would like to see them rotate it and give some shine to HBCUs that don't always get the shine.
Exactly.
I don't want to see Howard and Hampton and Grambling and FAMU and Morehouse every single time.
Right.
There are 1,000 more HBCUs than that. So even though the fact that you're actually giving love and showing love to the HBCUs, put more of them out there.
Yeah.
Don't just give me like that. Most people couldn't name more than 5 of them.
Right.
And those are the ones that you always see.
Yep. And not even to push back on already a touchy subject, but like the whole point of an HBCU is to obviously take away from the Dukes, Kansas, Kentuckys, Auburns, Alabamas, Georgias, things of that nature. But when you start to get your same, FAMUs, Grambling State, Morehouses, potentially Howards in there, you kind of, again, start to lose you lose some of that HBCU authenticity. So I got to double down a lot of the time, with what I do here on the show, and say that that's a great idea, because it's kind of like when the NIL deals came in, and they were just overall just putting more opportunities out there for everybody. For every NBA All-Star Weekend, and I hope it continues on through the rest of, time for NBA All-Star Weekend, if you can cycle through or make it a part of your plan to cycle through multiple HBCU colleges, just imagine the exposure that they could get. Like, oh, yeah, I first saw them on NBA All-Star Weekend, and I decided to go there now because that one appearance urged me to go tour the campus, and now I'm here. Like all those little nudges and side effects matter. So I definitely love to hear that. It should be a thing, and it should continue to roll through the multiple HBCUs out there. I think it'll be a great game also. It's just going to be more exposure, more marketing for, one of the best commissioners, of sports, Adam Silver, just kind of taking himself to another level. Always appreciate that from him. But now we got the skills challenge. We got Team Antetokounmpo with all the brothers. We've got Team Cavs, and we've got Team Rooks. Between all three of these guys, who do you think holds out the best and actually wins this skills challenge?
I mean, I'm gonna have to get this to Team Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Alex, Giannis, and Thanasis, however the hell you say his name.
Thanasis.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Thanasis. I'm just
Thanasis. Okay. I mean, if you just look at the guys out there, I mean, the only issue that Team Giannis might have is their shooting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in the skills challenge, you're going to have to knock down that outside jumper. They're long, they're fast.
Right.
They're going to be able to get through the drills really quickly.
Right.
But knocking down those shots might be their biggest issue, in which I might actually have to give it to the Rooks. So, I mean, even though I like Giannis's team, I know that's not what the name of their team is, but I'm not going to keep saying their last name. I'm going to go with the Rooks. I think the Rooks are going to win.
I like it, man. I like it. I was definitely looking at the Rooks as well, because I feel like when you step into these kind of younger competitions, you know, the young guys that have a lot of energy, and I don't mean to say this again in like, you know, a negative way, but I feel like when some of these shenanigans come around, you know, the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, unless you've got your potential Blake Griffins and Steph Currys that, you know, just really put on a show every time they stepped into it, it's like, are they taking it seriously enough? Are they willing to really want to put on a show for NBA All-Star Weekend? Why we're bringing all these people out to this one city and spending a crazy amount of money to market this and, you know, make it an event for the NBA, especially having to compete in the NFL year in and year out. I think I like Team Antetokounmpo, though. I feel like the brothers are going to come together here and just be able to overall seize the skills challenge. I do agree that they could fall short, obviously, in the shooting category as well, but I think it'll come down to either Team Antetokounmpo or Team Rooks. They just overall looking at the rosters there, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey versus Giannis, Thanasis, and Alex for the Antetokounmpo bros. So we'll definitely see how it goes. I will take you on the field, though. Now we have the 3-point challenge. Fred VanVleet, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Zach LaVine, ZJ McCollum, Trae Young, of course. Can't leave out Patty Mills or Karl Anthony Towns. Who do you have taken home this NBA All-Star Weekend shenanigan?
I mean, I think this will be interesting. I mean, if you just gave me the list of players, I'd definitely say Trae Young is easily the best 3-point shooter of this group. But this is a set shotting, like it's a set shot competition.
Yep.
You got to pull the ball off the rack and pull the trigger and do it consistently
30 times.
Trae is more of a pull-up, like he's off the dribble type of guy, almost more like Steph. And, you know, Steph has not been the greatest at doing this. Granted, he has won multiple times. But you also have seen that if you're a set shooter, that this competition is definitely more your thing.
Right.
So, I mean, I would never count Trae Young out of this competition, but I would have to lean towards either a CJ McCollum or a Patty Mills to win this thing. I'll say if I just had to go off the cuff, I'm going to take CJ McCollum.
Yeah. I can't doubt you there, man. CJ McCollum's definitely a solid shooter in today's NBA. In today's NBA league, I am going to have to stick with Trae Young, though. I mean, you kind of put it all out there again. You always take the spice of the takeaway, man. So you got to quit being facts sometimes. You just got to let me get some of the details there. No worries, though. I can't discredit you for the knowledge, though. But yeah, Trae Young, definitely. I think he's going to be the winner of this 3-point contest because I love the Atlanta Hawks, yes. But looking from all these guys on here, like I'm not going to glance at Desmond Bane. You know, Karl Anthony Towns, definitely not. I mean, Luke Kennard, probably not as well. If I had to pick a top 3, it would probably go Trae, Zach LaVine, and CJ McCollum. Trae at 1, you know, switch Zach and CJ if you'd like. But overall, you know, I mean, Trae is, you know, some people say Trae Young is maybe one of, or if not the best offensive player with the basketball in his hands in the league. But he's obviously a defensive liability. But if, you know, we're not talking about defense here. We're talking about the 3-point shot. And I think Trae could do very well. So I'll take him to win. I think Trae will hold up here and take this home. The dunk contest, Obi Toppin, Jalen Green, Cole Anthony, and Juan Toscano Anderson. Who do you have taking home this ever so exciting award?
I'm going to take Obi. It's his second time in the contest. He already got the jitters out. He's the only one that has already done this before. I think he's going to come with some type of extravagant package. He knows what it's going to take. He's been pining over this for an entire year. I think Obi comes in. He'll give us maybe not something that we've never seen, but I think he'll give us better dunks than what we get out of the competition.
Right. I'll take Cole Anthony. I know we got to move quick. Team LeBron versus Team KD. Super loaded teams in an NBA All-Star weekend that might feature 200 points between one team. Who do you got, Fees, before we head out tonight?
I'm going to take Team LeBron. It's just put together better than Team KD. Think they mesh better. They got the beef on the inside. Yeah. I don't think KD drafted very well this time. I mean, LeBron was sitting behind his clipboard. He was laughing while he was doing it.
Yeah.
I think the Team LeBron's going to win.
Yeah, I got to go with LeBron as well. Bron, Giannis, Steph, Luka, and Nikola Jokic, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Rudy Gobert. Durant has players overall, but I feel like they start to get more spread out once you look at LeBron's side. So I'm definitely going to take Team LeBron as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that does wrap it up for tonight's episode of Petty Sportz here on February 16th, 2022. Hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. Appreciate y'all tuning into the show. It's not about where Petty Sportz is at, but rather where you listen. We had no callers, but it's okay. We know we'll catch y'all next week as we start to go through so many NFL teams looking at their postseason, evaluation. Fees. Say goodbye to the folks, man.
Yes, sir. That's what's up, y'all. Make sure y'all keep following us. We appreciate you each and every Wednesday night. It's your boy, Famous Fees. Y'all know how to find me. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Make sure y'all call the Petty line next time. Your boy, Fax, he's always going to be petty. Y'all keep it petty. Yeah.
Shout out to the Hawks. They won tonight. They beat a rough, ugly Orlando Magic team, but we'll take it.
Credit to them.